May not be prepared for this.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Fantasy NBA Today, a sports ethos presentation brought to you by our great partners at FanDuel. I'm Aaron Bruski. I'm joined always by the irascible, the drama queen, Hall of Famer, Steve Dr. A. Alexander. And if you missed it, we just released an episode covering our top ad streamers and drop zone players. Make sure to check it out. In this episode, we're going to break down the latest news. We're going to dive into Dr. A's My Guys, highlight the B150 players of the night and weekend, and preview the upcoming slate. Doc, are you all settled in over there? How are you doing, sir?
You know, I okayed irascible. I was okay with being called irascible, but then you went drama queen. I don't know how I feel about that.
Look at all this havoc you're creating backstage.
I'm getting irascible right now. Exactly. You know what, Brew? After we do this show, am driving to the Atlanta airport, and it's an hour and a half with no traffic, and we're going through there at 5 o'clock, and it's Christmas time. Everybody, it's Friday night. It is going to be a you-know-what show. And I saw a thing online the other day that declared Atlanta as like the 8th worst traffic, not in the country, but the world.
Is it ranked higher than LA? And I know we got other stuff to get to, but is it ranked higher than LA?
I don't know.
We don't know.
It's gotta be right there with it.
I certainly hear about it from other people, and I certainly hear about it from you. And I can't wait to figure out what you negotiate from Casey in exchange for driving through 3 hours of hell to pick her up. And if there's anybody else in the car. All right, let's get to the news. Anthony Edwards, where they're calling it injury maintenance. Okay, cool. It's a foot injury, participating in shoot around Friday. And that was a key question that I was wondering about. We'll talk about that later on in the show. Josh Minott back, meaning back injury. Sam Hauser ankle, available to play Friday. Joel Embiid, I believe he's been ruled out. So correct me if I'm wrong with that. They have a front end of a back-to-back tonight in Philly. So they obviously chose this game to keep him out. Donovan Mitchell, questionable, as we were talking about last show. Ayo Dosunmu with his thumb injury. That one actually feels like the most serious injury that the Bulls have going on right now. Trey Jones and Zach Collins also questionable for tonight's game. Duncan Robinson left last night's game and did not return. We're waiting on news there. Jonathan Kuminga back in the rotation, and drama. Your favorite drama queen, Steve Kerr, continues in Golden State, though I don't blame Steve Kerr. I blame Jonathan Kuminga. Quentin Jackson started for Ethan Thompson. Big news there. Grayson Allen missed the game last night with a knee injury, and some of that injury concern that I've had with him is starting to percolate. Nikola Jokic passed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the number one all-time assist leader for centers. And what is this quote here? I always say those things are something for after career. I think the legacy for after career, that I'm going to look back and on the porch drinking beer and telling lies to my kids. I don't know. What was he talking about? Was he drinking when he said that? I don't think that was the case, but maybe I can't read. Giannis Antetokounmpo on his current situation. If my agent is talking to the Bucks, he could have any conversation he wants. I personally have not had the conversation with the Bucks. All right, before we move on to Doc, you're my guys and my B150 guys. What about all that stands out to you? Like that Giannis stuff is pretty interesting to me. But what say you?
Well, the Kuminga thing, he's back in the rotation, but he's not. It's not good. So I'm not racing to pick him up. Duncan Robinson. Knee injury, as we talked about in the last show, could open the door for some Dennis Jenkins. And then Zach Collins being questionable. If he misses a game or time, that's when you want to roll Vucevic out there. Because I think part of Vucevic's problem is it's a three-way center situation in Chicago now. Zach Collins, Jalen Smith, and Vuce are all getting minutes at center right now. So if Collins is out, I think that's a good sign for our boy Vucevic.
Yeah, I think, kind of just rifling through this, I'd say obviously the Bones Highlands stuff is linked to Anthony Edwards' participation. It's a big game. It's OKC. I kind of think Anthony Edwards wouldn't miss that game for the world, and maybe he was just getting right for this particular game. Other than that, the Joel Embiid absence obviously taps into the Andre Drummond and Dembona stuff. Nothing new there. Donovan Mitchell, if he doesn't play tonight, as mentioned in last show, I think Craig Porter Jr. has a chance to go off. Keep an eye on that. The Duncan Robinson stuff, if he's not playing, I think it impacts the entire team in Detroit, but it also opens the door for Dennis Jenkins to have another decent game. Low end, late round, deep league stuff with an eye on the future there. And then this Grayson Allen stuff is interesting because of the value he has and not much more than that, I don't think. And then the Giannis stuff, just kind of venturing outside of the realm of fantasy basketball for 3 seconds here. He's trying to have his cake and eat it too. He's not going to be able to play this game, and walk this line and play like dumb that he's, not involved in any of these conversations that are going on. And I know, you can say this stuff and get away with it. But it's going to slowly erode at his reputation in Milwaukee if he keeps it up. They'll get over it in a couple of years. But Giannis, I don't think he could play this line the way that he's playing it. But we'll watch and we'll see. And we'll move on to your my guys. Doc, who are your my guys of the night?
I've got a couple news items that Andre just kicked my way that I want to go over. And before I do that, what is your take? What do you do with Grayson Allen? Like, he was so good, and now he's not good, and he's hurt. Like, what do you do with him?
I just hang on because I think that the stats are going to be nice. And if he stays out, more than a game every 2 weeks, then maybe I really start to look at this. And that's what's been happening right now. But let's give him a little grace here for Grayson. Okay. Grace for Grayson. Grace for Grayson is my final summary there.
The Davion Mitchell has an ankle injury, but he is listed as probable for Friday. I think he's a good streamer, especially if Tyler Hero doesn't play. I think you want Mitchell in your lineup. Josh Hart is probable for Friday. That could be bad news for Tyler Kolek. We'll find out tonight. And Andrew Wiggins listed as questionable for the Heat. That could be good for Jaime Jaquez. And Karl Anthony Towns, probable tonight. So the Knicks are healthy again. So this will be a very good test for Tyler Kolek. Tyler Hero is out. So that is good for Davion Mitchell. Go ahead and roll him tonight. There's a couple more here, Brew. Trae Young ruled out for Friday.
Okay.
Injury management. Trey Jones, probable for the Bulls. Io, probable. Anthony Edwards.
Probable for Io. That's interesting. Okay, good.
Anthony being at shoot around, by the way, when you see the guy went through shoot around, Brew, don't you automatically assume he's playing?
I think in this situation, yes. I think some situations, no. But with this one, like, star players don't like to be shown up by their teams or their PR staffs. And if they're legitimately hurt, they don't want people to be kind of giving the impression that they can play. And then they don't play, and it creates frustration out there. So, that's not always the rule, but I feel like he's going to play. If I go look at the FanDuel odds right now, I could probably tell you.
All right, I'm done.
You're done? All right, well, let's get to your Dr. A, my guys of the night. What do you got?
Well, I'm going to shout out. You want all of them at once, or are we going one at a time?
Let's go all of them at once.
Jalen Johnson. I was a little concerned. I was like, is Trae Young's return going to ruin what Jalen Johnson has been doing? And it did not. He did not have his 5th triple-double in a row, but he had 43 points, 11 boards, 9 assists. Hawks took an ugly loss to the Hornets last night, but Jalen Johnson, man, what a stud. I love him. I'm not worried about him. I think he's just going to keep doing this all year. And the guy I am kind of worried about in Atlanta is Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who had another big game. Trae Young didn't play well, didn't do much. He's already been ruled out for Friday. But once Trae gets back up to speed, I'm worried that Nickeil Alexander-Walker is going to take a hit maybe. So he might be a sell high right now. The other side of that is, are the Hawks going to trade Trae Young? That could happen as well. So shout out to my boy Jalen Johnson. And then
before you spin into like somebody else, like some guy named Luca, whoever that guy is.
Luka.
I really think that the Nickeil Alexander-Walker like buy low, sell high conversation is really robust. Like I think he could be both a buy low and a sell high, just depending on who your competition is. So know your personnel. Who are you trading with? Do they not get into the nuance, or are they just so scared that Trae Young's going to come and knock him all the way off the radar? You could maybe make a buy low offer to that person and then flip it around the other way. The fact that Trae Young came back and played 20 minutes off the bench, it kind of felt like a fit in game for him. And he's been talking like he wants to maybe fit in. I don't know if I believe it all the way. And if he comes back into this situation and really embraces Jalen Johnson as a co-lead ball handler, that would really, really be obviously awesome for Jalen Johnson. Maybe it might be really bad for Trae Young as well. So just a ton of value on the line in Atlanta in general. Okay, that guy Luka. What did you like to say about some guy named Luka?
Luka's line last night was absurd. 45 points, 11 rebounds, 14 assists, 5 steals, and ho-hum 4 triples. He's unreal, man. There's not even that much to say about it. It's clearly his team. You don't see LeBron putting up monster lines anymore.
They had a monster last night. I mean, but not like that, but just to piggyback off that, like LeBron, still LeBron, doing LeBron things. So that question's been answered over the last week. But Luka, that's just absurd. What the hell?
And then my boy Sadiq Bey, 29 points, 3 threes, 9 rebounds, a steal, 11 of 18 shooting. Like Sadiq Bey is just balling for New Orleans. And I got in on Sadiq Bey early, and it's been a fun ride.
Yeah, I was sorting through lines. I wanted to know how good Luka's line was in relation to the rest of the league last night. And Sadiq Bey had the 10th best line last night. Your guy Khalil Ware had the 9th, and Brandon Miller had the 5th. Jalen Johnson the 3rd. Can you guess who was number 2? Anybody out there? Herbert Jones, number 2, with his 8 steals. All right, let's get into the B150 players of the night and weekend. DeMar DeRozan. No, not DeMar DeRozan. I don't know why DeMar DeRozan's here. I guess he had the 33 points, but Keegan Murray is actually the guy I want to talk about the most. Keegan Murray, 17 points, 3 boards, 2 assists. Okay, what's cool about that? Nothing. It's the 2 steals. It's the 4 blocks. And I'm a little concerned here because Keegan Murray's value is going to be off the chart. I think it's in the top 40 range without looking it up over the last X amount of time. He's doing stuff, and he's like maybe the face of the franchise going forward. We're hearing a lot of Keegan stuff. My concern is these defensive numbers are off the charts. And when Domantas Sabonis comes back, does it just put him in a different place on the floor? And does the defense get impacted by this? Does Sabonis being a mark out there defensively, does it change the equation for Keegan Murray? Because otherwise he's just operating so wonderfully on that end. And the value, you just can't, you couldn't have expected it out of Keegan Murray statistically. I think abilities wise, I don't really have any question where this came from. But man, is it a boon to his fantasy value. So it's just a thing we got to watch. I don't know that there's an answer to it, but as Domantas Sabonis gets back, that's the key categories that we want to watch with Keegan Murray. And then Nick Claxton, I just wanted to throw it out there again. He's become an assists guy. He had 16 points, 12 boards, 8 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks. Just maybe they roll with this the rest of the way. And maybe he becomes one of these dynamic players where you're getting the defensive stats as well as the assists to go with the points and the rebounds. And maybe, just maybe, Nick Claxton's going to be more than a footnote in Brooklyn for fantasy leagues, like top 50 or something. Nick Claxton. I don't know if I'm ready to go there yet, but it certainly feels like we're seeing a trend shifting there in Brooklyn. I will also shout out the Brandon Miller, 26 points, 5 boards, 8 assists. The shooting is now arriving, and that was what the buy low offers were, recommendations, I should say, from a couple weeks ago. When he's shooting 35% and killing teams, the bounce back is here. He and teammate Con Knipple, who had 28 points, 5 boards, 7 assists, is just a massive. There were so many massive lines last night, but Con Knipple has been so damn consistent. And I feel like I need to go back and watch college Con Knipple film and reconcile how I looked at that, thought he couldn't do it, and then comes into the NBA and he's just consistently awesome. What a pickup if you grab Con Knipple in drafts. Okay,
Hey, Brew. Can we? You mentioned. I'm just going to go there because you mentioned it. Can we talk Khalil Ware just for 30
by
seconds?
all means, go for
22. He played 30 minutes. Yes, thank you. He hit 8 of 11 shots. He didn't hit any. Or no, he only hit. Wait a second. 22.
Yeah, 1-3.
30 minutes, 22 points, 8 of 11 field goals, 1-3. He had 12 boards and 4 blocks. Like, we got a Khalil Ware moment again last night and played 30 minutes. Now, he may play 20 minutes tonight. I don't know. But, man, more minutes for Mr. Ware, please.
He hit 83% of his free throws. And that's just, I mean, this is why I will never get rid of him or sell him low or sell him high. It's just going to be Khalil Ware's oyster. Is that even a saying?
And Tyler Hero was out, so they started Davion Mitchell, but Khalil Ware started next to Bam Adebayo, and that I don't think that happens all the time.
No, and I think that there's a math issue going on in Miami where they're worried about how many threes they take in this big man combo. I don't know if it hurts it per se, unless you want to measure that against some small lineups where you got 5 out type stuff. Bam's trying to take more threes. But at some point, I think they will get to the conclusion that these two just need to play because they're better players. And then you get Khalil Ware numbers like this. And if he gets cut loose at anything related to this level, I mean, just minutes wise, the numbers could be a little overboard in this particular game. But if he ever gets cut loose, we're talking top 20, top 30 stuff. And that's why I just don't care. Like, Khalil Ware is just Khalil Ware, and we're just going to keep pumping him up. Doesn't matter if he's down or if he's up. Okay, guys, if this content's helping your squad, check out sportsethos.com for projections and tools. They will take your game to the next level. I promise you that. Doc, what are you watching for tonight?
Well, we got the San Antonio Spurs at the Atlanta Hawks, and that is a line over at FanDuel of +3 for the Hawks at -112. The Hawks had a bad loss last night, and they should have beaten Charlotte. And for Jalen Johnson to have that big of a stat line for nothing doesn't make a lot of sense. I kind of think the Hawks are going to bounce back. There's no Trae Young tonight, so they can go back to what was working when Trae was hurt. And Wemby's on a minutes limit. He played last night. Apparently, he's going to play tonight as well. That's great news if you've got Wembanyama, man. But I'm not playing Wembanyama in like a FanDuel situation until his minutes are back up. His salary in FanDuel is so high that if you're not getting a 32-minute game out of Wemby, it's hard for him to hit his value. So staying away from him in FanDuel. I love playing him in all my fantasy leagues, and excited that he's back. And NAW will ride another day without Trae, and then can Jalen Johnson keep this insane streak alive?
Yeah, and all the various players we've been talking about in the last this show and a half here, just always interested to watch these two teams. The Hawks are such a great fantasy squad, and then the Spurs have just so much goodness going on there. And in similar kind of fashion, the Sixers are a team I've watched a lot of this season. Now you get Joel Embiid out, but we do have Paul George in. Now I wonder, are they going to try to stagger these two players and try to have one of them on the floor every night in these back-to-back situations or the heavy schedule stuff? And then the schedule is really interesting. They're going to be a little light on the schedule, the Sixers here, for the next week or so. And so we've got a period of time here. We could almost call this the Joel Embiid zone, where the Philadelphia 76ers are going to try to figure out what their future looks like. And maybe it could be the evaluation point for, do they really, going into the last half of the season, say, hey, Joel, your role's cut because you can't play every night and you can't defend. And if we're going to do anything this season, we've got to get you into a defined role where the team isn't just zigzagging around every single time you're in or out of the game. And then aside from that, even just what are all these other players in Philadelphia, the VJ Edgecombs, the Quentin Grimes, Andre Drummonds, does the Dembona show up at all? All that stuff is always interesting. We don't even have Kelly Oubre back. So Philly, interesting. Doc, what else you got?
The Miami Heat, they are at Boston tonight. I'm probably going to watch that game just because I'm suddenly into the Heat, and I've always been kind of anti-Heat, but they're fun to me with Jaime Jaquez and Khalil Ware and Norm Powell. Those are fun guys. So I'm interested to see that the Heat are starting to pile up injuries. You got Davion Mitchell is probable. Tyler Hero's already ruled out. Andrew Wiggins is iffy for this one. If Wiggins is out, that's 2 starters gone. That means Davion Mitchell, Jaime Jaquez, Khalil Ware are all going to ball. And then also if Andrew Wiggins misses, that means a heavy dose of Norm Powell is coming. So I think the Heat, the ones that are playing tonight, are all very good options for tonight. I think you want to make sure they're in your lineup.
Yeah, I think this is a good, if last night, was the blow your hair back night, I think this was kind of the subtle, cool basketball stuff kind of night. Heat and Celtics is going to be a good one there. I'm basketball or fantasy. Cleveland -7 in the revenge match. Chicago got round 1. Now Cleveland fighting for their kind of lives in a way. Like, we're going to find out, does Donovan Mitchell play in this game? I really think it'll be hilarious if he doesn't play, because it's almost a dodge at that point. And then if he doesn't play, Craig Porter Jr., also questionable, by the way, would be a guy who's really good at racking up stats in small amounts of time. So we'll keep an eye on him. Jalen Tyson's cooking there. Jarrett Allen had an game since the first one coming back was not good at all. The second one was okay. It was at least serviceable. He's got to be good for them if they've got any chance of doing anything in the next couple of weeks with Evan Mobley out. They can also use Evan Mobley as an excuse if they want to in Cleveland. But their backs are against the wall. If they lose this game, I think you're going to start to see a lot of those kind of bigger in the background moves start to percolate to the surface as people start to point fingers. And this iteration of the Cavs becomes super clear that it's just not going to happen for them. And then what happens with Evan Mobley when he gets back? How do those big tectonic gears shift? Cleveland has a lot on the line, and then it trickles down into the fantasy deployment. Do guys play hurt? How do they play hurt? All those different things. So Cleveland in the weeds. I like it. Also, what else?
I had a thought on Cleveland, and what I was going to say is, when they played the Bulls two nights ago, I called that a must-win game for the Cavaliers, and I kind of went all in on the Cavaliers, and then they got housed. And now you're calling this a must-win for the Cavaliers. How confident would you be putting money on that game?
I have them as -7 tonight. I have them as a play. It will be a 1-unit play. I have no confidence in this squad.
But the chances of a Bulls team that's like 2-8 over their last 10, beating them 2 in a row.
Their backs, they got the monkey off their back last game. They were under similar pressure last game. That's why I thought that game was super interesting. They get the monkey off their back. Do they exhale? Do they have the fortitude as a team to take that and run with it and know that your opponent is like, over there one shot away from going down? You go there and you take them down. I don't know. I don't know if they've got that in them, but they certainly will play a lot more loose, I think, knowing they've already got one of the games. They take the split. But Cleveland is a mess. It would be so much better for them if they had JB Bickerstaff as coach. All right. Okay. And that's going to do it for this episode of Fantasy NBA Today. If you're listening on the pod feed, take 60 seconds to leave a 5-star review. Really helps us out. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the thumbs up button and subscribe so you guys never miss an episode. And if you're new to the show, we've got multiple episodes covering different topics to meet all of your fantasy needs. Quick, actionable advice in our first show of the day. Deeper dives and rotating higher value stuff in the second episodes. And our goal is just to help you guys print championships. So from Steve, Andre, and all of us here at Sports Ethos, we will be right back with a special episode of Add or Pass. This has been Fantasy NBA Today, presented by FanDuel.